Steve Kerr, who was great at TV, just provided the perfect segue to get us to Steph Curry.
On Twitter, at least, was talking about the three-point drought for you, but I feel like you got the win, and that was so important for you. Does it bother you, I guess, about the shooting tonight, and how can you get better going into Game 6?
I mean, of course, it bothers me as a shooter. You want to impact the game that way, but thankfully, that's not the only thing that you do out there on the court. I remember the first game of the year against the Lakers, I had a very similar shooting night, but impact the game other ways. And I remember I said I played horrible, but I had to kind of define what that looked like in terms of just trying to make the right play, keep things simple, and the fact that everybody stepped up. Wiggs, JP, Clay hit some big shots. Draymond found his life and his spirit and the way he impacts the game. We could withstand going 9 for 40 as a team and me 0 for 9 and still come away with the win. So obviously, track record says we'll shoot the ball better next game, and looking forward to that bounce back.
Davide in the back.
Hi, Steph. Davide Chinilato with the Gazzetta in Italy. I have two for you. One is about your T-shirt. I can read the final part.
Aisha Curry can cook.
Can you tell me the backstory of that?
You got to ask around the room and ask Twitter. Yeah, absolutely.
The other one is about you guys being one win away from another championship. Being there, done that, how much is the excitement of going to Boston, as Clay said, and how much is we still need a win to finish the mission?
I think, the fact that we have an opportunity, to win one more game and accomplish the task it's exciting. We know it's not going to be easy. We know that building it's a different environment. We had a great win in Game 4, had some solid moments in Game 3, but couldn't get it done. So we understand what we need to do. It's just about going out and executing, trying to bottle up your emotions, knowing how hard a closeout game is. We've had opportunities in prior series to, that first time to try to close the series out and, struggled a little bit, but I think our energy and especially these last two games has been amazing on both ends of the floor. And that's all you want is an opportunity to, play hopefully the best game of the year. Doesn't have to be perfect, but play the best game of the year in terms of our intensity, focus, execution, and knowing what one more win means. So you can talk about it, you can embrace it, embrace the challenge. A lot of guys in our locker room have been here before, but just got to go do it.
Vince up front.
Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. Steph, when you get to Game 5 of the finals, how much of this becomes a slog and a struggle as opposed to a free-flowing, free-willing type of game? And late in the fourth quarter or midway through the fourth quarter, could you see them unraveling a little bit, losing their poise and composure?
I think at this stage, two physical teams, two great defensive teams, there's a lot of adjustments from game to game. The deeper you go into the series, you just know each other so well. Things become a little harder on both sides. I feel like you embrace the fact that even if it's not pretty, you can still win the game, and that's all that matters. And there are, a lot of guys, like I said, you could point at that made an impact in those moments during the game where we really grabbed momentum and responded to their runs and all that type of stuff. Yeah, it may not be the most free-flowing situation or the prettiest, high-level skill out there, but it's just grinding it out, and that's what finals is all about.
Tim on the right.
Steph, so much of what you guys have accomplished has been about being your best in the best moments, most significant moments, the toughest moments. How impressed are you just to see Wiggins take it even another level up in these playoff games? And even as this series gets deeper, he's only getting better.
He's embracing the challenge of consistency and what he's capable of doing on both ends of the floor, and the fact that there's opportunity for him to do what he's doing, like because of the way that we play, because of the way that we've embraced him from day one. Try to paint a picture of what his skill set can do for us, to reach the highest level. So, and I think at the bottom line is he's just having fun playing basketball. That's the biggest thing. Everything he's been through in his career, all the talk about him as a number one guy, number two guy, number one pick, all that type of stuff. Like, I'm sure he's enjoying this more than anything else he's experienced in this league, and that's kind of what it's all about.
Janie on the left.
Hi, Steph. Janie McCauley, AP. You and Draymond and Clay now have 20 finals wins together, and that's the second most since 1970 when Kareem, Magic, and Michael Cooper, they have 22. And that's, is that pretty remarkable to you when you think about that number, and just what does it say about what you three have done together?
I think the way you ask the question speaks and contextualizes it very well in terms of how historic it is, and we want to have one more to show for it and one more win, and really kind of embrace what we've been able to accomplish just to be back on this stage. So obviously making 6 finals, you have a lot of opportunities and you enjoy every single one of them. So this series is no different, and one more win. Just got to figure out a way to get it done.
Marcus on the right.
Steph, Marcus Thompson, The Athletic. As someone who's known Draymond his entire basketball career, what do you think is the difference between, when he's walking that line, like the good Draymond, and the bad, like the Game 3, and what you've seen since? Like what kind of defines those differences as you've watched him grow over the years?
I mean, just being able to adapt and show his basketball IQ. Like, I think from when he first showed up on the scene, the talking point was, oh, you don't have to look at the stat sheet. You just know he's in the right place at the right time. He makes winning plays. He impacts winning. He's a winner. All those sound bites. His reputation kind of preceded itself from college, and he was able to carry that into the league. And ever since then, like, he's just continued to grow and elevate his game and his skill set. Obviously, with his defensive mentality and identity. But in a situation like this series where things aren't as smooth and you have some rough patches, he finds a way to respond with the right energy and approach and toughness that if you're watching the game, you notice him at all times because he's kind of everywhere. And we need that grit. We're not in the finals without him playing at such a high level all year long. The first 3 series, and we all have been in a situation where you don't necessarily meet your standard of every game, but you keep coming back and finding ways to help the team win, and that's why we've had so much success. Me, him, Clay, Andre, all those guys that know how to do this.
Mark in the middle.
Steph, Mark McDade, NBA.com. Amidst your abnormal shooting night tonight, how do you determine through the course of the game, now's the time to try to lean on other parts of the game to make an impact, now's the time to rely on your teammates, or now's the time to try to knock some shots? How do you kind of navigate those things?
I think, I talked yesterday, I knew there was going to be some adjustments in the way that they were trying to guard the pick and roll because they got a lot of clean looks, and they were a little bit more aggressive, a little higher up on their pickup points. So I didn't get as many attempts up. Obviously, I didn't make any, but the rest of the time it's just using that aggression against them, getting into the paint. The fact, I don't know if I had more than like 5 assists the first, 4 games, and then that total goes up, and we still left a lot out there because, we have different ways to attack you, even if it's not me just trying to hunt shots. And using gravity, using ball movement, all that type of stuff to do kind of normal Warriors basketball. So, Yeah, it's just a feel thing, and obviously, never losing your aggressiveness, even though you're not making, shots like you normally do.
On the left.
Steph, Young Slick, ESPN. Draymond was looking at the stat sheet when he noticed the 0 for 9. He said, knowing you're going to be livid, which will be good for the Warriors entering Game 6. But I was wondering, this is the longest streak. You owned the 2 longest streaks, but this one was 233 straight games with a three-pointer. What is your mentality or emotions usually after a game like this? Because you have them so rarely.
Keep shooting. It's very simple. Like you said, like there's never. I'm not afraid to go 0 for whatever because I'm gonna keep shooting and taking shots that you normally feel like you can make, and I've responded well. When I've had games like that from the 3-point line, but I don't think I've ever been happier after 0 for whatever type of night. Just knowing the context of the game, the other ways you try to impact the game, and the fact that you had 4 guys step up in meaningful ways to help us win offensively. So all that stuff matters. There's a fire burning that I want to make shots, but the rest of it is just about how you win the game, and we did that.
Last few for Steph. We'll go to the back middle.
Robert Littal, BS. So, Steph, you had, like you just talked about, you had 8 assists right here. You had 8 assists. You shot from 2, 7 from 13, and Steve Kerr was in here earlier and said your defense was excellent. Do you feel sometimes like your all-around game is not appreciated when the threes are not falling? And how much pride do you take in the fact that, you are the greatest shooter of all time, but you have an all-around game that's not just shooting threes?
I know that's the thing people notice at first and consistently is how well I shoot the ball, where I shoot my shots, that flair. But I can't control the narratives that however people talk about the game. When you watch the game, it's not just about that. You respond to how the teams, are guarding you, defending you, and the way that we try to create good shots. And I know I have a huge part in that. And usually good things happen whether I'm making or missing shots. So there's a lot of confidence knowing you don't really have to force it too much in certain situations. Sometimes you do, but like you said, the rest of the game has to show up so that you can still make an impact and still draw enough attention offensively, even if you're not making shots. And I do take pride in that, consistently.
Anthony on the left.
You guys lost a lot of your size and your wing defense from the dynasty days. As you guys continue to, I guess, reconfigure the roster over the last few seasons, did you doubt? Were there times you doubted whether you guys could have a championship level playoff defense?
Not really. I think there's enough versatility to kind of, mix and match lineups and still maintain a strong identity, obviously following Draymond's lead on that front. And Mike Brown's been amazing in terms of reestablishing the importance of that side of the basketball from training camp to now, and not letting anybody, slip up in terms of accountability on that end of the floor. We've tried a lot of different things over the course of the year. Traditional man coverage, all that boxing one, zone stuff we can kind of sprinkle in from time to time. But at the end of the day, it's just effort and intensity and kind of relentlessness on that front. And we've done a really good job of maintaining that for the most part throughout the year and trying to plug in where, there's a little bit, I guess you call it deficiencies from, teams compared to teams of past. So I think we're number 2 defense for a reason, so it's pretty cool.
Last question, Ann on the right.
Steph, you guys weren't whole, obviously, all season until the playoffs. And I'm just wondering, when did you feel it really click in with Andrew and the rest of you guys together on both sides of the ball? And also, have you seen him change, grow in confidence or happiness or intensity over the course of this 26-game playoff run?
Absolutely. And I think we talked about it for game one of the Denver series. Like, we didn't really know what it was going to look like because me, Clay, Draymond had only played 9 minutes or something like that in the regular season. We didn't really know what our rotations were going to look like. And we had some guys that hadn't played in the playoffs and had a deep run before, so that were going to be in the playing meaningful minutes. Wiggs at the top of that list, so we wanted to peak at the right time and keep building, keep getting better every single game. And you talk about it and you hope that it's going to work. And thankfully, it's gotten us to this point. And we got one more win. And I think I talked about it when I was talking about Wiggs earlier. He's just definitely enjoying the fact that what he's capable of doing on the floor and the way he prepares his mind and his body to go out there and hoop, that it's leading to success at the highest level. And I'm sure for him that's been a pretty cool journey to understand what that feels like and what it looks like and how fun it is to go out there and be in those type of environments. So hopefully we can, get this next win and really, celebrate what it took to get there.
Thanks, Steph.